next section that we are going to chunk from lesson 1-2 is going to be questions number 11 to 13. 11 to 13. Number 11 says, graph the data from the table on the appropriate grid. Be sure to label the appropriate scale on the y-axis. So you're asked to do A and B. A is going to be the number of the outer squares. B, you're going to do the number of the colored squares on the inner side. Then it's going to ask for number 12 to compare the graphs. And number 13 is going to say, use the patterns you described to predict the number of inner color squares in the 10th figure of the pattern. So again, we're going to do questions 11, 12, and 13. Talk it over with your partners. This time I'm going to give y'all 10 minutes. Go ahead, pause your video. Questions 11, 12, and 13. All right. So numbers 11 through 13 have now been completed for us. As you can see with 11, for A and B, I chose to use the same scale along the y-axis. I counted by 5s. So each little line going across is a count of 5. You'll notice that whenever I graph A, which is these were the outer squares. Remember that was the pattern where we saw that +4 each time? And we've noticed that it forms a very, very straight line. Okay? However, with question B, where we're talking about the inner squares, remember that we said that this did not have a common difference because it didn't go up by the same. Ooh, look at me, spelling it all kinds of wrong. So let's go back and fix that. All right. Our inner squares, sorry about that. We noticed that we just stated it did not have a common difference. So it didn't increase by the same number each time. Therefore, when we go to graph it, we will not see a straight line. And I chose to use the same scale here just so you can see it doesn't form a straight line. I wasn't going to manipulate it to make it look like a straight line because it's not linear. And then I went back and I answered question 12. 12 asked us to compare the two graphs. So I said with the first graph, it was a line. With the second graph, it was not a line. And then it asked me to use the pattern that we figured out earlier back in question, I think I determined that back in question number 7 maybe. Whenever I did my multiplications out here. And I said, well, it was the figure number times itself. So I said 10 times 10. That pattern's going to continue to be 100 because 10 times 10 is 100. Oh, the same pattern we determined in 8, where we said the numbers in column 3 was the square of the numbers in column 1. If you saw another pattern, you could have used that as well. It should have still come up to the answer of 100 there. All right, on to your debriefing question.